So this is the final episode of Fallout Season 1, Amazon Prime's TV show. And yes, this review it's been a little bit. It's been like a month. I've been very busy, so sorry about that, but I am back. And this episode is phenomenal. I love so much about it. There's so much to talk about. A lot happens. This is where all of the secrets are revealed. Before I continue, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and comment, share the video around, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of have to say that. Also, there's a new thing going on where I got memberships, I guess. I don't know quite what that is, but yeah, I guess you can become a member if you want. Let's get into this. I guess Maximus never knew what the contents of the head is. He never questioned, I guess, why he needs to get specifically this doctor's head. You know what I mean? What's so important about it? Who knows? And he finally gets to what I guess is a temporary base, or the Brotherhood just isn't doing very well anymore. The place that they're staying at doesn't look that remarkable, if I'm being honest. It looks pretty run down. And of course, the first thing they're going to notice is that, okay, why are you wearing the Knight's Red, as they call it? The Knight's Red is basically the uniform that all the knights wear underneath their power armor.
Where's your knight?
Where is your knight? You're a squire. Where's the knight that you're supposed to be protecting? Knight Titus. And all he says right now is that
he's dead.
And it's okay, let's, hold back the information. That's good. But pretty much immediately they're all right, let me grab, let me scan real quick my controller.
You may feel a slight stinging sensation. All of you.
And it's there's no artifact, my lord.
I fear you lied then.
There's nothing in this head. It's a fake head. And they're pretty much going to execute Maximus right then and there.
Do you want to make my cock explode now?
And I like this interaction that Maximus has with his commanding officer at this point. I don't know, he's kind of leader of the Brotherhood. But he questions what's the real reason as to why Knight Titus actually died. And Maximus says that he dies running. Yeah, a Knight of the Brotherhood of Steel being a coward, especially in power armor.
Pussy.
Yeah, that's no good. Basically says, yes, the Brotherhood had lost its way.
We once ruled the wasteland.
If you can help me find the actual artifact in the head, you and me, I'll be the leader, but you will be the sword.
And together, you and I, we will take power.
I will start a new Brotherhood. This is quite a ways into the Fallout universe. The Brotherhood isn't as powerful as they once were. So Lucy has finally made her way, finally, this is the final episode. Moldaver is the person that everybody has been looking for. And the first thing we see is that, yes, they're growing crops. We can also see that they're actually working together with ghouls. There's a scene where this ghoul is helping, I guess, prepare food. And that is very reminiscent of the Fallout 4 Railroad organization, which is very forgiving and accepting of all kinds of people, especially ghouls. And I guess synths in that storyline in particular, the robots in disguise.
We may need Energon for power, but this is too much of a good thing.
Anyways, she has arrived at the Griffin Observatory. Cooper is also on his way there. But before Cooper arrives at that observatory for a final countdown, we're going to be just paying a visit to Cooper spying on his wife. This is honestly more interesting than the actual storyline.
Okay. I love you.
This is where he decides to maybe listen in onto what she's saying. So just as Cooper's trying to grab his, his air, should I even know? Bud Askins shows up and he's oh fuck. Oh, wait 1 second. He's trying to spy on his wife using his wife's Pip-Boy.
Think we could all go to Cafe Cabana sometime?
Lucy has, I guess, made it all the way through the complex and is now going to be talking to her father. Finally, the father that has maybe a shady history, we'll find out. What's funny is he's locked inside a bird cage, an oversized bird cage. A little overkill. So we can see that Moldaver is enjoying some fine dining. What looks to be maybe craft dinner, mac and cheese. Is that what they call it? Something like that. There's a ghoul suspiciously sitting at the table. I wonder what that could mean. Who could that ghoul be? Now, one thing I wanted to point out is okay, I don't think the original plan was obviously to have this guy's just his head being escorted over here. Everybody's pretty damn lucky that the little chip, and turns out the infinite energy cold fusion, didn't fall out of the guy's head, because his head is very decayed by this point. You can see it when he plops the head down. When she plops the head down, it's yeah. At one point the gulper ate the head, so it's been digested a little bit, and then it was spat out.
Who he really is.
I love this transition here because as Moldaver's about to reveal the secret behind how she knows her father, do you really think that this man was born in a vault like you and your brother were?
No, Lucy. Don't listen to...
It transitions to Norm in Vault 31, about to discover even more disturbing secrets.
The keys to the future of humanity.
We see our first robo-brain. So basically, you know, not complicated. They got a robot and they put a human brain in it. So robo-brains have been in many Fallout games at this point.
All right. This one's it. I'll get it this time.
So basically, the robo-brains were developed by General Atomics. These I mentioned General Atomics and Robco because you're about to see their basically CEOs in a very, let's say, enlightening meeting with the Vault Tech higher-ups, including Cooper's wife, which we'll get to right away. So this robo-brain, who I believe is Bud Askins.
You're not Betty. Or Hank.
His brain anyways. He's very much useless. If there are other robo-brains out there that are far more useful than this guy, like they're actual combat robots. This guy is pretty much a glorified Roomba. Like, I don't think he could even do as well of a job at vacuuming my carpet, if I'm being honest.
You share only 50% of Hank McClane's DNA.
But yeah, this guy's like, oh shit, you aren't Betty, you aren't Hank. You're only 50% of Hank, which I guess is technically true. Is it always 50% exactly? I don't know.
Initiate Protocol 53.
So he's trying to inject Norm with this like little syringe. And it's like, there's no fucking way you're even like near me.
By the way, Mr. Howard, there's a new guy who works with Barb, Henry.
In this particular scene, we actually see a very young Betty.
Do you mind if I bring him by just to meet you for a moment?
And who the Henry is, well, that's going to be pretty interesting to talk about. We see basically at this round table secret meeting that Vault-Tec's having with other very major companies all around America. We have Robco, we've got West Tech, we have the Big MT, which these last two, Big MT and Repcon, are mostly locations within Fallout New Vegas. West Tech and Robco are pretty big deals though. The most references in this show come from Fallout New Vegas, I noticed. And we also get to see what Bud Askins' big plan for the world is.
Our vaults have the resources to survive for centuries. Meanwhile, our competitors, every other human who isn't us, will be dead on the surface.
What's the greatest weapon that mankind can possess? It's not like bombs or other kinds of weapons. It's time. If you can outlive your competitors, well, you win the game of capitalism, as he says. They have the resources inside the vaults to last for generations.
Even if you outlive all external threats, here's my problem with the vaults. You can find a bunch of rats in a nest for a long time. They end up eating each other.
Yes.
Why isn't this working? This is conflict resolution 101.
Vault 31 is comprised entirely of one robo-brain and hundreds of pods of people that have frozen themselves, and he calls the people that are frozen.
These are buds.
It's a program that he ran in the modern era where he was like training new recruits for management positions, basically. And that actually explains why everybody in Vault 32 and probably 33, all the overseers were essentially from Vault 31.
3 interconnected vaults. But we need more ideas. We need your ideas.
She basically explains that there are about 100 vaults throughout all of America that you can start claiming. And it's funny because like Bud Askins, I guess, just wanted to make super managers. He wanted to make like incredibly powerful leaders.
To create a class of super managers. People with positivity. People who make lemonade.
And this is where we get some crazy ass experiments suggested by all of these, I'll call them like evil.
What about using a vault to develop a super mutant soldier using illegal immigrants?
The guy from West Tech wants to make super mutants. He's like, we could use some illegal chemicals and try make the perfect super mutant soldier. But they're all wondering, okay, how can you guarantee us, if we make an investment that it's not going to how can you guarantee results? And this is where Cooper's listening intently. He's just, and she says, all of the conspiracy theories are true. Vault-Tec's evil. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised.
Huge fan. I'm Henry, but everyone calls me Hank.
Lucy's father. It turns out that, I might be repeating myself here, but Hank did come from Vault-Tec. He came from the past. The classic line is said.
And war changes.
Sorry, for like everybody in this room, Betty, Cooper, and Hank all survive into the modern era. And like Lucy is very understandably shocked by all of this.
What do you know about my mother?
We learn the truth of what happened to Lucy's mother, what happened to Norm's mother, and the lie basically that Betty told. I guess they recovered the Pip-Boy afterwards. So basically the story goes, Lucy's mother discovered that something was siphoning off their water supply in the vault, and they was kind of like wondering where it was going. Because the water is being siphoned, there must be something above. There must be something going on in the surface. Maybe civilization is there. Hank is like, no, there's nothing there. Don't go looking.
Isn't that why you came to the surface, really?
She took Lucy and Norm and she found Shady Sands. She found the city that Maximus was from, the city that was in Fallout New Vegas. And Hank understandably was very upset by this. Hank secretly took Lucy and Norm away from the city and he remote detonated a bomb, a nuclear bomb, I presume, because, well, for one, the city blew up, the entirety of the city. And of course, we saw some of that go down with the flashbacks with Maximus. But also that ghoul sitting at the table is actually Lucy's mother. And how do you become a ghoul? Usually through radiation. So it's likely a nuclear bomb. So Lucy's father is directly responsible for the detonation of Shady Sands. That's insane. And yeah, partly she knows this because the ghoul has a necklace that, that she recognizes from her memory. What am I saying? She remembers it. So Lucy tells her father to just give Moldaver the code. Give her the code to activate the cold fusion. And it's this very emotional scene. And Hank is just like, initially you could see him shake his head. He's just like, I can't do it. But Lucy just keeps repeating, give her the code, give her the code. Eventually it starts to get to him that, he really fucked up. He knows he really disappointed his daughter. So he's like, okay.
Give her the code.
I'll do the code. So like Moldaver brings over the keyboard, he types in the code, and cold fusion, infinite energy. Wild idea. they got infinite energy. And Moldaver was actually, if you remember, one of the primary developers, or at least she was a part of the company that was working on it for this technology in the first place. For, I guess, initially the Enclave stole it, right? Norm is reeling from the revelation. Bud Askins, as Robo-Brain, locks him inside there and says, knowing what you know, you're not going anywhere. And he recommends that
you wait it out in your dad's pod.
You don't want to starve or survive off bugs. And that makes me question what's going to happen for season 2. He's just going to be kind of locked in that vault for a good while. Maybe he'll be taken prisoner. We'll talk about speculation, I guess, at the end of this video. Yeah, that's kind of where we leave off with Norm.
I did what was necessary.
I only did what was necessary, I'm not that bad of a guy. He's pretty bad. He's a pretty terrible person.
Incoming aircraft.
Big bloody bath, a bloodbath ensues because the Brotherhood shows up. It's always weird to me how the guy in the power armor is wielding the turret. You'd think the guy without power armor, the squires, will be using the turrets instead of them. But yeah, they're unloading on everybody in the NCR. I'm going to call it the NCR by this point because I think that's what that is, their organization. They're trying to barricade the doors, but like the Brotherhood is pushing through. They've got the obvious advantage, but there's a lot of them that get taken out. This guy just falls out. He lands on one of the rotors for the helipods, whatever, helicopters. Anyways, he gets eviscerated. So there is a lot of chaos, a lot of mayhem. They eventually counter Cooper, and it's always funny in scenes like this where they were mowing down everybody. Why did they stop when they saw Cooper? You know what I mean? Like they could have just kept on, it's just another guy, boom, boom, boom. But no, he has a certain atmosphere about them, I guess, and they recognized his riz. Anyways.
There was only one problem with it. There was a flaw in the welding.
I'm willing to bet that they didn't fix the fatal flaw it had. He did fight in the Great War before the nukes dropped and takes out pretty much all of the guys in power armor, all the knights. I remember like the Punisher TV show did this. I think some other properties where it's like the hero kills the lights.
Kill the light!
How can Cooper see what's going on? Like, I feel like in real life, Cooper will hit the lights go out, and he's just like shooting blindly and missing.
Open the door, let's go.
And Hank is still pleading to Lucy to like let him out of this giant bird cage. It looks ridiculous. I'm not a bird. Let me out.
Can you get us out of here?
And only then does Lucy kind of reveal, hey, that man there is actually responsible for Shady Sands. And there's this like very emotional moment. You can see the PTSD that Maximus pretty much has, because he's absolutely scarred by that moment. All the while, Hank is putting on this armor. Oh yeah, I didn't mention, but like, I guess there's like a headless body around, because Hank must have opened up the power armor of the guy that walked in and fell, that had no head, dragged the body out, and then jumped in himself. The power armor was on the ground, so it'd be real awkward, I guess, but it's possible. But yeah, Maximus takes a punch to the head from power armor, and that should absolutely destroy him, but I guess it was more of a tap, you know? And yeah, Lucy pulls a gun on Hank, and damn. The wasteland does change people, and obviously, like, you came all this way for me, and now you're threatening to kill me. And then he takes, I was gonna say back shot. He takes a shot from the back from Cooper. Cooper shows up and he's like, hey, you looking for that autograph? I wonder if he's still a fan. You know, it's for him, it hasn't been as long. It's definitely not as long as Cooper's been alive.
Where's my fucking family?
So yeah, it's possible she's still out there, and maybe his daughter as well. I guess it's possible they're frozen, maybe even inside Vault 31. And Cooper lets him go because, as he says, it's easier to just track him rather than just ask him questions after questions and get no answers. And Cooper looks off in the distance and he's like, war never changes. He wants to find what some people have suggested to be Vault Zero. They want to find another managerial vault. I imagine in season 2, they're obviously not going to go back to Vault 31. I think they're going to get Norm out of there.
Could come meet your makers.
Before she leaves, she takes out the ghoul version, or her mother, who is now a ghoul. A mercy killing, basically. And yeah, but yeah, that's kind of where we left off. It's going to be a couple of years, a year or two before season 2 comes out. So I look forward to that. She's mortally wounded, but she manages to finish what she started. And you can see that all the lights in the nearby town are powering on. I guess the infrastructure is still there, and it's a pretty cool sight. You know, it's civilization returning to the wasteland. Moldaver doesn't last very long. She does die. Maximus inadvertently gets the credit for the kill. You took out their leader. You're Knight Maximus now. You're no longer a squire. Season 2 is going to be traveling with the Brotherhood and wearing some sweet-ass armor. I wonder if that elder is actually going to follow through and try reinvent the Brotherhood in some way. And before the show ends, we get a couple teases for season 2. First off, we get to see the skull of a Deathclaw, and that is fucking awesome. Holy shit. I kind of forgot about Deathclaws and super mutants.
Forget it. You too dumb to talk to.
Yes, please. I can't wait for season 2. I really hope that at the very least we get some super mutants.
Where is the one, my lord?
Where is Hank going? And as the horizon dipens, we see that he's looking at New Vegas. He's heading out to New Vegas. And that's likely, you know, obviously where season 2 is going to take place. It could be a cop-out. They could change some stuff. But the writers of the show seem to be very much in love with Fallout New Vegas. So if you want to do some prep for season 2, I'd highly recommend you play the game. I will do the same as well at twitch.tv/JohnOdds at some point before season 2 comes out. Because I would love, there's so many Easter eggs, so many that I missed as well. So overall, I know this review was a bit late and not a lot of people talking about the show anymore, but it'll be relevant at some point. I like this show a lot. It's really good. It's, you know, it's not absolutely perfect, right? But for a video game TV show, like this knocks it out of the park. I'd highly recommend you give this a watch. If you somehow made it to the end of this video and have not watched the show for some reason, how would you describe it? Like the general like behaviorisms, I guess, like, you know, the Pip-Boy stuff, all of it was like perfect Fallout. I know there was controversy with Atleast and him turning into a ghoul and how strange that is. There seemingly was some timeline issues that I'm sure they're going to try and resolve in season 2. Thank you for making it this far, and if you did, make sure you leave a like. That helps the channel out a lot. It helps me out a lot. Make sure you subscribe, maybe share the video, and, you know, let me know what you thought about this finale first off, but also just the season overall. Did you like it? What problems did you have with it? I listed some of my issues. There's not many, admittedly. Thank you for leaving all the positive comments. It means a lot to me. I will be likely covering the House of the Dragon, but I sort of want to review it, and I've got got a lot to say. I've got a lot to say about it. Also, I apologize if my camera is flickering. I'm going to try and edit around it. I don't know what is wrong with it, but yeah, that's a problem. Goodbye.
Will be told with this team by his side. Film tyrants are a guide. Radiation can't break his will. Every